All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about potential corruption in the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight. This came up during an absolutely spectacular debate that I had with someone talking about the fight, and I just want to express to y'all the conversation and the idea that Terence Crawford needs a knockout to beat Errol Spence Jr. in Las Vegas. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about the potential Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight and a issue that was brought up around the fight, which is rumored to be in Las Vegas, and whether or not Terence Bud Crawford needs a knockout to beat Errol Spence Jr. Otherwise, he's coming up with that L, and not just from the viewpoint of how the fight would typically go without any funny business, but also the fact that the fight may happen in Vegas and the way that Vegas judges have been known to score fights. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, thank you so much for checking out the video. We do videos pretty much on a daily basis, and in the video format like what you're watching right now, and in the live stream, and in live streams we do pretty much every day of the week. Really good boxing conversations. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. All right, man. So had a very good debate with somebody, respect in the boxing world. And we were talking about whether or not how the Errol Spence Jr. and the Terence Crawford fight would go. And I am a believer that, when I judged the fight, I said that Errol Spence Jr., the Terence Crawford is going to need a knockout to beat Errol Spence Jr. And the reason that I say that is because Errol Spence Jr. is somebody that racks up a lot of rounds, right? He's somebody that starts off in the first round, in the first half of the first round, throwing jabs, is fairly active. And then in the second half of the first round, it's almost like he is on full go. And he continues that way for several rounds, all the way through the end of the fight, even if it goes 12, or if, it winds up like the last fight getting stopped earlier or what have you, right? And in that situation, you have somebody that is throwing a lot of punches, right? Now, when you're throwing a lot of punches, you are generally considered to be the aggressor. And in Las Vegas, there is a history of Las Vegas judges leaning towards fighters that have been more aggressive, right? Now, Terence Crawford himself is a very, very excellent fighter, man, and is known to be a terrific counterpuncher, right? But the thing with a counterpuncher is that you typically wind up throwing shots in between the shot that the guy that's being aggressive is throwing. Now, if you are able to do that and neutralize how many clean and effective shots the man has by moving, and shifting side to side or whatever, that can work for you. But if you are stuck there fighting the guy right in front of you, and the guy is able to cut off the ring, then the judges will lean more towards that guy. So that's my thought on the matter. However, participating in these conversations with people get real funny because they say, yeah, but also not just that. You also have the issue with Errol Spence Jr. being the cash cow in that particular circumstance and being the one that really sells the tickets. So when you combine the fact that you have somebody that is very, very aggressive and somebody that is the one guy is significantly more popular than the other, then you really do get into that situation of saying, okay, well, who's going to get the judges' calls, right? Now, when you see guys you see that definitely take place with guys like Canelo Alvarez, in how the way that his fight was judged against Gennady Golovkin, the way that his fight was judged against Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout, the fact that he was in Vegas and actually managed to get a draw on a card against a Floyd Mayweather Jr., where Floyd Mayweather Jr. literally beat him every second of every round. Like, there's literally no highlight that you can really show of Canelo in that fight where it winds up being like where you can say, okay, man, look what he did to Floyd. It's just like not even there. However, he still managed to get a card to call the fight a draw, right? So the question is, will Errol Spence Jr., is that situation, significant enough with Errol that it will affect the outcome of the Terence Crawford fight with him, right? And my take on the matter is that I don't think that it will, because I don't think that Errol Spence Jr. is, number one, I don't think that he's big enough of a star to really to have that be something where, okay, if he throws 3 punches in the round, he's going to get the judge, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt on the judge's scoring cards, right? I don't believe that he has achieved that level of financial success to garner that type of favoritism, right? But I do believe, though, that Terence Crawford, if Terence Crawford does not knock out Errol Spence Jr., then it is going to be very, very difficult for Terence Crawford to get credit for winning rounds where Errol is really putting the pressure on him. So I do believe that if there's going to be a win in that fight for Terence Crawford, it's going to come by way of knockout. It's not going to come by way of decision win. And you can also look at the scorecards that have been in place for Terence Crawford over the last several fights, where he, with fighters that are a lot less aggressive and a lot less skilled and score on a lot less consistent basis, have been able to win rounds off of him. Case in point is Kell Brook. Another case in point is Sean Porter, where Sean Porter, I think, actually through like maybe 5 rounds was up on the scorecards with 5 rounds. If Errol is up on the scorecards through 5-6 rounds and Terence Crawford's not able to time him, hit him with something big and knock him out, more than likely Errol's going to be picking up the gas and pushing it even further during the second half of the fight, which is something that Roy Jones Jr. has said himself. He's like, if Errol can hang with him for the first 6 rounds, and he's able to really do something with him in the first 6 rounds, then you're going to have a real tough time with this guy going downhill. More than likely, though, Terence Crawford will make an adjustment for that, I think, and start a little bit earlier, which has its risks, right? Because if you go out there before you really catch the pattern of Errol and he's in there, because he's very much a rhythm and a timing type of guy. If he starts going at Errol before his rhythm and timing is all the way right, that very well could go very, very badly for Terence. But all in all, man, I don't think that that's going to have anything to do with it, but I thought that was a very, very interesting conversation to be had, about whether or not you can trust these type of things to be fair. But the style of Errol, from way that I've seen in Las Vegas, I think that his style most definitely is more amenable to the judges in Las Vegas, which tend to reward the guy that's coming forward and the guy that's putting the most pressure on. But anyway, that's my take on the situation. Just a little bit of a side conversation about the fight. Not a lot of other things going on in boxing. So I thought I would share that little back and forth. And you let me know what you think in the comment sections about it. Is it a possibility that could come into play? Because Terence said he wanted somewhere neutral, but that fight is not necessary. If it happens in Vegas, it's not necessarily neutral to style. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.